First of all, thank you, Ben, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you guys for showing up. This is a great crowd and people of all ages, which is exciting. I first want to thank Startup Week. I mean, what they do each and every year to put this on for 5 straight days and get some of the best speakers in the city to get together and gain knowledge for people that own startups, that work at startups, that run marketing divisions, that are in sales, really everything. What they do is amazing. Ben, Matt, the entire team at STL Startup Week, and Tech Artista, the Artista Foundation, this beautiful space that we get to use. I've been here so many different times for different events. So I want to start off just by asking you guys a quick question just so I can better understand. So if you could raise your hand if you own a business or own a startup in this room, so I can get a better idea. Okay. And then raise your hand if you run a social media account for a business or your business. A lot of people. Okay. And then I want to just figure out how many followers people have just to get a better idea. So raise your hand if you have over 1,000 followers for your business page. Okay. 2,500 followers. Okay. 5,000 followers. How many followers you got?
Around 6,000.
6,000. What's your business?
Well, it's sort of a personal account that I'm turning into a business. So I race mountain bikes.
Okay.
And I'm turning it into kind of video production for like biking companies and stuff, and expanding like outside of that realm too.
That's awesome. That's dope. That's dope. So really what the presentation today is going to be about is building community through social media. We have this tool that every business has that's free to use, that you can build a community to gain sales for your business, create loyal fans, create loyal customers. But before we get into that, I just want to go over a little bit of our background just so you guys can get a better idea. So a little bit about my story. I come from a sales and marketing background. We started the business in 2019, so we're a little bit over 4 years in. We have 3 phases of what we do. We do social media for other businesses. We have our own community pages. And then we also have a digital billboard network that's inside bars and restaurants around St. Louis that we put up content inside of businesses as well. Really, I mean, the story is the same for everyone. I mean, marketing's changed so much just since 2019, as we all know. So a lot of the stuff that we learn is through trial and error, and a lot of YouTube University, a lot of different courses that we bought. But building the community pages have been such a challenge because, as you guys know, with posting on social media, you have to be on it all day, every day. You have to respond to all the comments. You have to basically be present for your followers. But yeah, I'm excited to get into that with my story. And then our platforms, I don't know if you guys are following them at all, but we're mostly focused on Instagram. So our 2 Instagram pages are STL Bucket List and St. Louis Graham. Between both of those pages in St. Louis, we have 260,000 hyper-local followers. So we really focus on the city of St. Louis, building community that way. And we do that by highlighting the people, the places, and the events that make St. Louis special. So that could be restaurants, that could be events like Startup Week, which we've been doing a lot of promo for. That could be events like Tower Grove Pride that's happening this weekend, Grove Fest that's happening next weekend. All these events that happen in St. Louis, we act as a microphone for those events and really try to help those organizations out by spreading awareness. So the 2 pages, STL Bucket List on the left here, really focuses on restaurants and our podcast. And then St. Louis Graham is really arts and culture focused. So we have a Tiny Desk series that we feature local musicians and local artists, and then we really try to shed light. We're partnered with the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis to highlight local artists on that page as well. So there's a form on there. If somebody wants to get featured, they just fill it out. We feature them on that page for free. And they're all local focused. It's only St. Louis, and that's what we love about it. Here's just some other stuff, just some statistics on what can be done organically on social media. So if you look at our combined monthly follower or monthly reach, we reach over 5 million people monthly, and those are organic impressions. We have 87,000 monthly website clicks organically from our social media. We don't do any paid advertising. And then our community is very young. 65% of our followers are female, and 79% are between the ages of 18 and 44. So those are those people that are in St. Louis that are spending money, that are making those buying decisions. And then 92% are local to St. Louis, which is amazing. And then just some of our new stuff, we do a lot of community give back, so we get featured on a lot of the news channels for different things that we do. So just cool to put that up there and just kind of show what can be possible through social media. And And then the impact. So my wife and I host a podcast every week, and we feature local entrepreneurs on our show. We've done 84 consecutive episodes. We just had one come out today with Tim Parker, the captain of the soccer team. Really cool episode. But really with our podcast, we focus on highlighting people more than what you can do in a magazine or on the news. It's an hour-long episode. It allows them to tell about their business, to tell about their story. And we've been able to cut that up into short content, post it on social media, and grow that show each and every week, which is probably the most fun that we have because it's no phones. You turn your phone on Do Not Disturb and you just talk to somebody for an hour, which never happens anymore when you have an undisturbed hour with somebody each week. So here's some more pictures from the podcast. That's Nikki Glazer. She's a comedian. She came to our studio. And then there's Tim from Today, who came into the studio as well. So really the best thing about the podcast, and I know that Mindy, you had mentioned a lot about podcasting, is it's one way to make connections with other founders, other startups, but other ways is we have an hour of content every week that's automatically filmed that we can cut up 40 different ways, 50 different ways, and that content's always relevant. 90% of the content that you see of people, motivational speakers, and all this different stuff on Instagram is all cut up from podcasts. They just keep cutting it up. Gary Vee started it. He cut it up, and it's just short little clips. And now, like you had mentioned with the AI, with the captions, now you don't have to spend 45 minutes trying to write the captions and make it look cute and do all that. So this is probably our passion project. We love everything about talking to people on a daily basis. I think that podcasting, if anybody has a business, you should consider starting a podcast for your business, whether that just be for content or for networking with other people that you want to meet. I think of it as the new golfing. People used to go golfing to meet people. Now they go on people's podcasts. So, and then a little bit more about our brand. So we started in March of 2019. Really when we started, we didn't have a mission of becoming a business. We just had a mission of highlighting the places that we like to go to. So my wife and I had moved from St. Charles to South City, and we didn't see a page in St. Louis that looked like other cities, that highlighted these mom and pop shops, that highlighted these restaurants, that highlighted these small businesses, bars that do happy hour. We were 22 years old. We were like, we want to go somewhere with happy hour. We can't pay $14 for a cocktail, stuff like that. So we made the page. We didn't tell anybody about it, and we just documented the stuff that we did. We quickly grew to 10,000 followers, and then COVID hit. And what we did during COVID was we partnered with local restaurants, and we did blitzes. And we said, hey guys, this restaurant reached out. They're struggling. Go support this restaurant. And then it caught steam and everybody started to follow us. We quickly scaled to 50,000 followers. And now I think we're the biggest account in St. Louis. St. Louis focused, we have 145,000 followers on that specific account. And then in September of last year, we acquired the St. Louis Gram page. Another guy had started that and he was moving out of the digital marketing space. So we actually bought an Instagram page, what people think is crazy. I know startups, you guys buy and sell businesses all the time, but we bought an Instagram page. And the only reason we did that is we wanted to buy attention, and we can use it to help our business. So people think it's crazy. My wife thought it was crazy that we bought an Instagram page, 100%. So couple of the other things we do, I know I mentioned, but this is our digital billboard network. So through STL Bucket List, this summer we started digital billboards, and they go inside bars and restaurants. So this digital billboard, if you're at True Fusion in Clayton, you'll see it above the water fountain. If you're at the Armory, you'll see it above the urinals or in the women's restroom above the vanity. And the reason we did this is we have hundreds of people reach out to us each week that we can't feature on our page. We can't help them with marketing. We can't put them on our page because maybe their business doesn't fit what we're posting. So this allows us to put an insurance agent that's locally famous on these places and these restaurants. And it's just another advertising source for us. And we've quickly scaled that. We have 250 locations already just in the last 60 days. And we plan to have 1,000 by next summer so that we can expand our reach. And we also put our STL Bucket List content on there. So we put weekend events on them. We do some of our podcast clips, and then we do community givebacks. So anytime we're doing a community event, we put it on there with a QR code, encouraging people to show up to an event, donate, or anything like that. And then I know I mentioned before, but we also have a marketing agency. So what I said here is we also walk the walk. So we're not just building a community page for ourselves, we're building community pages for local businesses in St. Louis. We specialize in hospitality, so we work with a lot of hotels, we work with a lot of restaurants. Currently we have 32 clients in St. Louis. And we help them from anywhere from content creation all the way to day-to-day social media management and everything in between, whether that's building a strategy, starting a new business, or just posting on their social media because they're too busy to do it themselves. So this is our office here. We just moved into our new spot on North Grand, right on SLU's campus. So we've been able to build our team of social media managers and content creators that help with the marketing agency, but also help with STL Bucket List as well. So we also work with other businesses. We just have a niche of hospitality, but we work with a lot of construction companies as well through Google Ads and PPC and different things like that. So now, that was a little bit about us. So I want to talk a little bit about social media community. So I know I asked everybody how many followers they are, how many followers they have, and everybody has a community, whether it's 300 people or it's 6,000 people or it's Ball's Life here with 8 million followers on Instagram. Everybody has a community on social media. It's how they use it to influence people. I want to ask somebody, is anybody under the age of 21 here? Okay, a lot of people. That's awesome. Where do you guys find, and I'll just pick on you, but where do you find out about new restaurants or new places to go?
Friends and family.
Friends and family. Do you ever see anything on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that?
I don't have TikTok, but Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, so we've seen a shift in the last few years of moving away from search engines and going into social media. So Mary, who works with us, who's here today, she says she reads blogs, but she reads TikToks, and that's how she finds out about new information, and it's quick and it's easy to understand. So content creation is becoming a big part of every single business, whether it's a fast food chain like Wendy's, who does an amazing job creating a community on social media, or if it's a small startup that only has one employee that sells software. They're all creating a community, and it's for their customers, but it's also for their fans and people that follow them. So basically, a community is a social unit that creates a feeling of fellowship. It's the same reason we follow the Cardinals, the Blues, our favorite musicians, because they have a community of people that follow them. And when they post something, you see it. And when they drop their tickets, you want to buy them because you feel like you're part of that. You feel closer to that company. Social media community is vital for long-term success. Some of the best businesses have the best social media followings because it's free marketing. Once you have that community, nobody can take it away from you unless, social media changes and stuff like that. But it's one of the biggest investments that a lot of startup companies are putting on the back burner. They're worried about proposals and investor meetings, but they're not building a strong social media community, which will help you in those meetings. If you come to a startup meeting and you say, hey, we have 50,000 followers on Instagram, we haven't hit our sales goals yet, but you can see that people are wanting what we're going to be doing. So one of the things about building a social media community is you don't have to be everything for everyone. A lot of people will just throw content at the wall and see what sticks, but really what's important and what we did was defining our niche. So in defining our niche, we did market research and we saw that there was nobody in St. Louis that was quite doing what we were doing. So that was a niche for that. Other people like mountain biking, there's probably a niche for that, but maybe not locally here. I don't know anybody else that's doing stuff like that. So you found your niche, and you have 6,000 followers. Now you're going to start getting leads to create content for these bigger brands, and they're going to want to send you bikes, and I'm sure you've been getting free stuff. Yep. So, and then you want to choose the right platform. Everybody says you want to be on every platform, and that's completely correct, but you don't want to plug and play the same exact content on every platform. What we post on LinkedIn is completely different than what we post on TikTok versus what we post on Instagram. And that's important. And a lot of people will spend so much time worrying about the new platform like Threads instead of focusing on the one that has their community already. So what I would suggest is choose the right platform for you. A lot of startup founders, I know you talked about some platforms as well, but LinkedIn's a great resource. But Instagram is becoming an older audience, and a lot of more people are on Instagram. And we're starting to see a shift in that. Create engaging content. That's the number one thing. People follow stuff that's good, engaging, easy to understand, and looks clean. So when you're building your community, think of the content first, whether that's investing in equipment, phones can do a lot, or investing in people to help you, videographers, different people to cut up clips for you. But creating engaging content is going to be something that we're going to talk a lot about today, and that's going to be a key in building your social media community. And then consistency. Consistency, number one thing. A lot of people will get bogged down with no results. social media is so busy. There's so much stuff on social media. It's hard to see immediate results. It's hard to see instant gratification. But if you consistently put out content, we talked about content calendars, having a content calendar and sticking to it and putting out stuff at different times and really seeing what works is going to help you build that community. One of the best things about building a community for your startup is being able to seek feedback for free. You can put out a product, you can put out an email, you can put out a poll on your Instagram story, and you can get immediate feedback and see, okay, would this product be something that somebody would even want? Instead of just asking your partner or your mom or whoever is close to you, and being able to seek feedback and get immediate results is one of the best things about social media. This logo that we made here was a poll on social media. We put out 4 logos, we had our community pick it, that's the logo that we chose. And that lets people feel like they're involved. The reason the soccer team, I know they spoke on Monday, the reason STL City is doing so well is because they're getting the community involved in the decisions that they're making, whether it's the artists that they're featuring on Saturday game days, or whether it's just where they're spending their money when it comes to nonprofits. So, and then listening and adapting and providing value. A lot of people will just post. They won't listen to what people are commenting. They won't respond back. They're not actually providing value. They're posting for them. Where social media is not really about you. It's about what people want to see. And that's one thing that people don't understand. And I think what we do with STL Bucket List that's really unique is we ask people, we ask college students, hey, what type of content would you want to see on this page to make you want to follow and share it more? Oh, I want to find affordable coffee shops to study at. I want to find places that have meals under $10. So then you create lists, you create content around that, and those are the same keywords with startups. I know we had the one guy here that was talking about content creators. Collaboration is another key in building your community. A lot of people are super closed off and they don't want to collaborate. That's been the number one thing in building our community. We collaborate with people with 500 followers all the way up to a collaboration we're working on now with Square that has 200, 300,000 followers. So it doesn't matter what size you are, you can collaborate with other people and provide value in those communities. And then measure and analyze. I know all of us are very into that, but it's really easy. Social media, different scheduling tools will give you the feedback. They'll tell you when the most people are online and when to post. Everybody thinks, oh, if I'm on social media at 8, that means everybody else is on social media at 8. And that's not always true. So looking at your numbers, analyzing that, measuring that, and then being able to put that on paper and say, hey, when we post at 8 p.m., it performs better than we post at 5 p.m. because people are in traffic driving home from work. At 8 p.m., they're scrolling, getting ready to go to bed. So that's another big thing in building a social media community. Does anybody have any questions about social media communities at all or anything like that? Go ahead. So I don't sometimes I'll use that. I'll use Meta Business Suite as well to find that. Does it say it at the bottom of that, of the Pacific time? It doesn't. Okay. I always thought that because they're in California that they just base it off of what time that they're at? That's a great question. Yeah, so like 12 p.m., you're like, oh, everybody's at lunch. So everybody's on social media, or whatnot. No, that's a great question. I don't actually have an answer to that, but that's a good thing to know. We use different schedulers and different things where we can find the analytics of when people are on, but like Mary knows, like we were posting something for a client yesterday, and I'm like, hey, don't post it now. It was at 3 o'clock. I was like, let's post it at 8, and it doubled in engagement of a post that we posted at 4 o'clock. So it's when people are on, early mornings are always great because they'll see it. If they don't see it right in the morning, they'll see it, when they get to work or whatnot. But no, that's a great question. Because mine says ours is like 6 to 7 a.m. A lot of people are on, and then like 8 or 9 p.m. Those are like our 2 biggest times. But that's a great question. So some of the other things we're going to talk about today in building your community, there's really a 14-step formula that I built for it. And basically that's finding your purpose and niche, choosing the right platform, creating engaging content. Consistency matters. Consistency is probably my number one thing. Encourage interaction, like and respond to every single person that interacts with you. Establish community guidelines. I'll get into that a little bit. Build relationships with people on social media. These are regular people just like you. And a lot of great people we meet are through social media as well. Promote user-generated content. This is going to be huge for the startup founders in here. There's a lot of content creators out there that'll use your product if you send them it or if you give them early access to it. And that's free content right there. That costs thousands of dollars to get that done in-house sometimes. So definitely promote user-generated content. That's a huge integral part of what we do at STL Bucket List. Probably 2 out of every 4 posts we do are UGC. The other 2 are original, so we're able to post way more. And we're able to encourage that. Collaborate and partner, which I just spoke about, providing value, listen and adapt, and then measure, analyze, be patient. Don't stop posting if you don't get any new followers that week. I know a lot of people do that. And then seek feedback. Seek feedback from your followers, seek feedback from other people that are in your industry, and ask for help. You'd be surprised, these big accounts on Instagram, they do check their DMs. You send a DM, you're probably gonna get an answer. So I would say seek feedback from people that have what you want and have been where you've been. So finding your niche. Finding your niche is very, very important. Like I said before, a lot of people want to be a content creator, but they're just creating stuff that's viral. They're just trying to keep doing viral things. When you find your niche, what you do is there's a niche for everything. There's a company that I followed that started a cat cup company, a cat t-shirt company. They have a community of 5,000 people, but they do more sales than you could even imagine because all 5,000 of those people love cats, and they continue to buy their products when they do product drops. Finding your niche, a little bit about what we did is we looked at the St. Louis market. We took trips to Chicago and New York, and there was Instagram pages all over that were highlighting local businesses, that were creating viral content, creating really good content. And then we came back to St. Louis and we're like, there's blogs and there's magazines, but there's nobody doing it on social media where it's easy to consume and you can see it every day. So finding your niche is important, and you can change that over time. I know a lot of people might create gaming content and then switch over to sports, to switch over to educational, to motivational, and you can grow with your audience. As we've grown over the 4 years, our audience also grows as well. Now these people have families, so sometimes our bar content is now family and park content. So it's just growing with what people are doing and staying in your lane. You don't have to be everything for everyone. I keep saying that. If somebody doesn't follow you, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be everything for everyone. There's so many people out there, and you really don't need that many people to follow you to have a successful business. So finding your niche, I do it in a 3-step formula. So you find your niche, what you're passionate about. That's the easiest place to start. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about sports. Okay, so now I look at other sports pages. What are they not doing? Okay, let me write that down. Okay, they're not making content about this. They're not making content about this. And then really when you choose your niche, you have to be passionate about it because that's the only way you're gonna keep doing it every day and not see any results. And I know I'm picking on you, but how long have you had that page for?
Since around 2019.
So 4 years now. And how long did it take for you to see any real results? 2 years. So that's a long time. That's a long, and you were posting like every other day or a couple times a day? Yeah. So that's one of the things. If you weren't passionate about that, you would have just stopped. A lot of people want to, be a food creator or be this type of creator. And if you're not really passionate about the food, then you're going to stop if you're not seeing results. So I know we got you over here that had the food cookbook. Like you're passionate about that. The reason why you keep doing it all the time is because you love it, and it's amazing work too. So now defining your target audience. In your market research, while you're finding your niche, you find if there's even a target for that niche. So in St. Louis, we knew that the target was people that like to support local businesses. Everybody here likes to go out to local businesses, so we knew we had a target, and we knew we had a market. And then you want to avoid saturation, avoid stuff like that. So if there's 50 people doing it, maybe do it in a different way, because then you're just going to be one of those 50 people that are doing that same exact style of content. But the niche thing, I wouldn't stress out about it. A lot of people get stuck here, and then they don't actually start. So you don't have to have your niche established until you start doing content and figuring out what you like. Because when you're putting yourself on video, if you're not passionate about it, your followers will see that. And they'll be able to see through that you're not actually either educated in it or you're not actually passionate about what you're speaking about. So if I could, I know I'm saying it again, but you don't have to be everything for everyone. That would be the one thing I would take away from that. You don't have to have 1 million followers. You just have to have a niche community. whether it's in business or even a personal brand. Now, creating your community. Once you have your niche, once you have your brand built, then you're going to go into creating your community. The best way to do this is posting engaging content, but responding and being responsive to your followers. They want to feel like they're a part of your business. They want to feel like they're a part of the process. When we started STL Bucket List, I would stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning and follow and like and comment back on everybody that reached out because they took time to make a comment on that. I want to make time to throw a heart emoji or to say thank you and call them out by name because then they feel like, I know if anybody's on Instagram a lot, you tag a restaurant and you say like, oh, this was fire, and then they comment back and they say, oh, thanks for coming. Like you want to go to that restaurant again because they engaged with you and you feel like, okay, that's a real person behind that restaurant social media. So being responsive and engaging, user-generated content that helps with that. You can encourage people that comment and engage with you, be like, hey, like, do you want to make content for us? We'll send you some products, or hey, you know, we have an opportunity here. Do you guys want to do this? So especially with the startup in tech, you can easily give people early access to stuff, have them create for you, and then give them a code and they can create content for you. What being responsive does is that teaches the algorithm that you're active on Instagram, and that's going to show your content to more people. So when you're commenting, when you're sharing other people's stuff, when you're liking and following other people's stuff, Instagram's going to be like, okay, this is a person that's going to be on here a lot. Let's show more people their content. Let's get them to follow them. It's really hard for me not to follow a business back when they send me a message thanking me for coming to their business. Like I always follow them back. So that's 100% the most important thing with being responsive and engaging with your community. What this does is this gives you a higher conversion rate. You're able to answer people in real time, use it as customer service, and you're able to engage and get a competitive advantage over other businesses that are completely stagnant on social media. There's some that you can't get a hold of, you can't call them, you can't fill out a form on their Instagram, you can't go to their Facebook, they're not active. So it gives you that improved customer support. And by implementing these methods, you can effectively build out and mature your community over time. There's people that followed us back in 2019 that are now friends of ours that we go to lunch with, that we go to dinner with because we've talked to them on Instagram for years and years and years, and they go to all the restaurants that we suggest, they go to all the places that we go. So it's fun to be able to nurture that community and actually see it in real time. And one of the most interesting parts is once that community is built, I know I keep going back to this, but you have those followers forever. They're not going anywhere, so as long as you keep finding in your niche. One of the things that some people do is they'll build up a big page and then they'll change it and then their engagement will drop. So it's really hard to go away from the stuff that people follow you in the first place. So I know I spoke a little bit on passion, but when your content, interactions, and when you have genuine enthusiasm about what you're talking about, people can see that. If you're not passionate about it, you're not going to continue to do it. You're not going to be able to level the storms of low engagement. So creating with passion and purpose is the #1 key in community building, in my opinion, because the reason we started STL Bucket List was not because we wanted to have a bunch of followers, is because we were passionate about supporting local businesses. And what it did over the last 4 years is it gained us this digital magazine that now we can post these businesses out in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And it doesn't cost us anything. So we can help people in need. We're able to help other businesses. And then also, we're able to leverage that to help our other businesses. So our marketing company thrives because people want to work with people that have done it before. So it's a proof source. A lot of people are like, oh, well, show me some of the accounts you manage. You just send them your community account. You send them your personal brand. If you can't manage, it's just like website builders. If you don't have a great website and you're a website company, why would people want to build their website with you? So you have to walk the walk. You have to talk the talk. But really creating with passion and purpose, you get an emotional connection. You get that authentic community alignment with people. So being authentic, being raw, and that's the one thing about choosing the right platforms, is it allows you to have a different voice on different platforms. And then when you're creating with passion and purpose, that gives you longevity, that gives you consistency, and people can see that, and they're going to want to engage with your stuff. They're going to want to be a part of what you're building, and they're going to want to engage with your business. Now, know your numbers. This is one of the big things with marketing people and marketing teams. So I know we talked about people that are business owners. If you guys could raise your hand if you own your own business in here again, just so I know. How often do you guys look at your number? We'll start with you, Mindy. How often are you looking? I mean, you're in marketing, so how often are you looking at your clients' numbers, and how often are you looking and analyzing that stuff?
Yeah, I think it depends on, I guess it depends on what we're measuring, what the metric is.
Yeah.
Because some things take time.
Yeah.
But I say monthly at the very least.
Yeah.
Weekly if you're really, really on top of something.
Yeah.
And if it's something that needs a lot of attention.
Right. So knowing your numbers is more than looking at what content posted or what engaged the most. It's really forming a strategy around. So I just took a couple screen grabs. This was from a while back, but looking at our numbers, like we're all in the green. You know, you have impressions, you have follower growth. So in this 90-day period, we grew 23,000 organic followers. So looking at those numbers, that allows you to go and look back at that 90-day quarter and be like, okay, what videos did we do that went viral? What videos drove the most traffic? Oh, did we do a giveaway? Do we need to do more giveaways? Okay, do we need to partner up with that influencer again? We spent $5,000 with that marketing company or that influencer. Like, should we allocate that marketing spend again? And really knowing your numbers, it helps with goal setting. It helps with understanding your audience. It helps with optimizing posting times, like I told you guys about. Like, social media is so much more than just making a video and posting it. It's making a video, posting it, making sure the sound quality is right. And then it allows you to identify trends. If you can see that, okay, Reels are performing a lot better, that means we have to shift towards video content. Okay, I know Mindy had mentioned it. Okay, maybe video content doesn't resonate with our audience. Maybe they want infographics. Maybe they want links. Maybe they want blogs, like lists, different things. So really knowing your numbers is, I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, we have such a small team and we all look at it and we say, okay, like you can tell what does good, what doesn't. But being able to shift and pivot and be able to switch on a dime and be able to know your numbers is very, very vital in building your community. Because if you continue to do stuff that doesn't engage, it's not helping you to post more. You maybe need to post less and do more hard-hitting content. And this really knowing your numbers, it empowers you to make data decisions instead of just making impulse decisions. Just because you like the way that video looks or you like the way that picture looks, maybe that's not the right thing for your business. Maybe that's not the right thing of what your community wants. Because like I said, social media is social. It's not about you. It's for social. So if you wanted your own thing, you could have, you know, a blog or a note or a journal. That would be your own thing. But really with social, it's one of the things people, I talk to a lot of content creators and they're really upset and they're really like, man, I can't grow. I'm posting all this stuff. And I'm like, are you posting stuff that you like or are you asking your audience what they like? And that's the biggest thing. And it's hard because creators are so passionate about their style and different things like that. But sometimes you have to meld it. On Instagram, I just started doing voiceovers. Like, I've never done a voiceover video. I don't like doing them, but those work better. And they like to hear when we do a voiceover if we're rating a restaurant or we're going to a place. So knowing your numbers is key, and now that those work, we're probably gonna do those for a while, and then pictures might come back and videos might be too oversaturated where people just wanna look at photos again. So knowing your numbers, I would say when you're a small startup and you only have one person, maybe two people, it's really easy to look at this every week, every day, and just be like, okay, like what did that post do? And you can look at the likes, but look at the reach, look at the engagement, look how many people shared it, and really get an overview look of everything that you guys are doing. This was that's why I took these screen grabs. That was a good quarter. And then collaboration. I know I talked about this. So with us being a local page, this is a local apartment complex in St. Louis called One Cardinal Way. They're down at Ballpark Village. They had reached out to us. They said, we want to give away Cardinals tickets. We want to give them away with you guys. And we did a giveaway with them, and we got them 4,000 new followers in one day. The way we did that is say, do you guys want Cardinals tickets, and do you want to watch it from the pool here at One Cardinal Way? All you have to do is follow One Cardinal Way, tag a friend, share it in your story, and it went completely viral. I mean, people were going insane. I mean, there was 20,000 comments in 2 days because people just wanted to be at this apartment. It's a luxury spot. People wanted to be there. But if they would have just did that on their own, they would have only been reaching their community that already lives there. that already knows about them, that already follows them. So what they did is they collaborated with us and they said, we want to do this. And we do this all the time. We do giveaways probably every week, sometimes twice a week. And the reason we do this is it helps the businesses that we work with grow. And then it also helps people get exposed to new opportunities and new experiences that they wouldn't already do. So when I talk about collaboration, just because you guys are in the same business, if one person's a startup founder, one person's a content creator, doesn't mean you guys can't collab on stuff and connect with your other communities. Because that's one of the things that once you start doing that enough, people are going to reach out to work with you more because they see that you're working with other businesses. So I would say collaboration is key, and what that does is it allows you to share resources. Although we have more followers than them, that doesn't mean that they don't have 3,000 people that never heard of us, you know? So there's always, even being here today, I mean, I want to actually do that. Has anybody in here follow us or heard of us before this speech? If you could, raise your hand. So exactly. So out of this, they haven't heard of us on Instagram. So there's still thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that haven't heard of STL Bucket List, although we already have 145,000 followers. Seems like a lot, but there's 3 million people in the greater metro. So we only have a small percentage of that. Collaboration, it allows you to be creative. A lot of people in small companies have one marketing person. It's hard to be creative when you're the only one that's doing marketing. So when we do collaborations with these, it allows us to go sit in meetings with other people's marketing teams and see what works for them, and really just find ways to work together, because it's not a competition. It's not, oh, this place has more followers than me, that means they have more revenue than me. It's really collaboration, especially now that Instagram allows you to collaborate with like 4 people now. Use that all the time. If you have 2 businesses or 2 pages, collaborate your personal page with your business page, because people buy from people. And that's one thing a lot of founders I notice don't do as much, is they don't post about their business enough. But when you do, you probably notice if you post on LinkedIn, on your personal LinkedIn or your business, you're going to get more engagement on your personal one. So what I always suggest is post on your personal one, share it to your business page, and become a brand yourself, because now more than ever, we have access to these founders, and if you're not building a personal brand to go along with your business, it's really hard for scalability. It's really hard to exit, because people want to buy from people that they know and they like and they trust. So definitely collaboration. I would say now that Instagram has that collaborator tool, everybody has like 2 Instagram pages, it seems like. You know, collaborate against both of your pages, reach both of those audiences, and then it just all goes back to community building, collaboration. Community building, it's all the same. And then people know that you're a community advocate because you're working with other people in the community. Here's another thing that we like to do in social media. It's called foster trust by being transparent. There's a lot of fakers on social media. There's a lot of gurus on social media that talk and try to sell you courses. But one of the best things that you guys can do is be authentic, be honest, and be transparent. Especially as a startup founder. I want to follow somebody that talks about their failures. I want to follow somebody that shows behind the scenes of what they're doing. Like, oh, is this what your day looks like? Oh, you don't drive a really nice car? Oh, like stuff like that. Like, I think that fostering trust by being transparent is one of the biggest things with social media. I think the reason why STL Bucket List has grown larger than other community pages in St. Louis, whether it be a government page or, community page like that, is because they feel like it's coming from somebody that's like them, that goes to the same places as them. So being transparent, honest communication. I think one of the coolest things that startup founders do now is they talk about their failures. Hey, this is what I did. This is what this is what happened. I lost this much money, but I'm going to try again. And you're like, okay, I want to follow your story. And eventually, once your new app drops or your new business drops, I want to be a part of that, because you're actually being transparent. It's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Behind the scenes content is in this bucket, which we're going to be doing on our team. We're going to make a commitment to that, is doing more behind the scenes content, asking people on your team questions, asking people, putting them in TikToks, putting them in Instagram posts, highlighting your team more. With STL Bucket List, we focus on food and drinks and hospitality. So going to our whole team and say, hey, what's the best dish you had this week? What's the best cocktail you had this week? Making content out of that instead of just posting a picture, because then it feels like you're closer to that audience. And then when you're being transparent and you're being honest, you're building trust, whether it's in your relationships or whether it's in your business. So people are going to trust somebody that comes up front when you're in a business meeting and say, yeah, we did fail, but this is what we did to change it. And you can use your social media to that. I'm not saying you have to post like failures all day, because I know we fail every single day, but there are good takeaways in being transparent and being honest. And I think it just keeps you accountable. So one thing I would take away from everybody in here that owns a business or works at a marketing company is look at your week, say, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and write a post about it on LinkedIn, or write a post about it in your Instagram story or on your Facebook page. And you'll be surprised how many people are like, oh, I ran into that same issue. Like, you know, it happens all the time. Okay. And then this is the last slide. I put this on the back for a reason. Being consistent is so important. So out of all the business owners here, raise your hand if you post more than 4 times every week. 4 times? So one person, 4 times? So there's 7 days in a week. The biggest pages always post more than 4 times a week. And I'm not saying you have to blast it all the time. It could be different types of things, but come up with a strategy to come up with 16 posts a month. That's it. You know, 4, 4, 4, and 4. 16 posts a month. And I would always suggest one of those each week being video. So you have 1 video and you have 3 static posts each week. And really what helps me with my content calendars is you look at the days as Monday, Wednesday, Friday, weekend. So Monday motivation, Wednesday could be, for us, Wine Wednesday, whatever it might be, Friday or weekend events. The weekend could be brunch. So looking at your week in a whole and finding different ways to plug and play content. So it's super easy when you have a schedule in your mind, because a lot of us as startup founders, and I know Mindy touched on it, you look at it, you get stressed out, and then you go to what you're good at, which is sales or networking or that, and then social media is on the back burner. But really being consistent is staying on schedule and then seeing what works. One of the biggest things we did is we have a What to Do in the Lou feature every Friday. The radio station picked it up because we posted events every Friday. Now we have a radio show that we go on and give those same events on every Friday. And we've done that for 116 weeks in a row. So we do it every Friday morning at 8 a.m. on the dot. The reason why people come back and follow us is because they know that that's going to get posted at Friday at 8. So they pin that post, or they know like STL Bucket List is going to give me 10 events this weekend. So I don't have to look on Google. I don't have to ask my coworkers what to do. I can look at those events and I know what to do in my city. So I think being on schedule, doing it over and over again. I think I talked to a couple podcasters in here. Podcasting is the same way. People start a podcast, they don't get any downloads, they stop the podcast. But if they just would have kept doing it for a whole year, those numbers start to compile. So just create a schedule, create a consistency, and really stay on schedule, because your community deserves to know when that content is coming. They follow you, they spend time, they spend their time and energy looking at your content. So it's nice to know that, hey, this is going to get posted, this is going to get posted. They have to have a value. Like, a lot of people will unfollow people if they don't bring value. So I think being consistent not only helps with cohesiveness between your teams. If all your team knows that you have a post Monday, they can keep you accountable. They could be like, hey, Dave, you didn't post today. Like, what happened? Oh, I had a rough weekend. How can we help you with that post? Because I know we have to post Monday. It only takes 10 minutes. It doesn't take that much time. So I would suggest, 4 is a lot. Let's do 3, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Start with 3. You don't have to work on the weekend. But I would say try your best to post 3 times a week for your business. You'd be surprised how that will compound. And I know we talked about AI. There's a ton of prompts that could help you build out an entire month in a day, and then you just have to make the content. So consistently being consistent is probably the one thing. We've done this for 4 years. I think we've posted 5,000 times. That's why people follow us. They know we're going to continually bring value. And I know we got a couple more minutes and I'll get to my Q&A, but I just want to kind of go over the benefits of community building. Number one benefit is going to be brand awareness, customer loyalty, customer engagement, reputation management. It allows you to put something out how you want it instead of a news story or instead of somebody else putting something out. It allows you to control the narrative. Content distribution. If you spend $5,000 on a video and you have such a small community, it's hard to justify spending that $5,000 on that video. If you have a big community, you know you're going to generate ROI when you post that video because people are going to see it, people are going to engage with it. So it allows you to spend more money on marketing because you can track it. You know, every $5,000 I spend, my community grows or I earn this many in sales. Audience insights, product feedback, gives you competitive advantage over other founders, over other startups. Like I said, if I was investing in a business right now and they had let's just say it's a restaurant. There's 2 taco places. One taco place has 80,000 followers and one has 300. Even if the revenue is different, I said, I know I could grow that other one that has 80,000 followers because they already have a community. Maybe they just need to change the menu. Maybe they just need to do something, but I know that they already have a community. I'd more likely invest in that business. And then it gives you collaborations and partnerships ideas. We never created this page to have partnerships with big businesses, but now they just come to our door because they said, hey, we're cracking into the St. Louis market. You're the biggest page in St. Louis. We want you to get our message out. We could spend our money with Facebook, we could spend our money with Google, but we would rather spend it with a page that's already tapped in with the community. So it gives you collaboration and partnership opportunities. And then cost-effective marketing. I mean, who in here that owns a business, do anybody use an agency or a marketing company? Nope, you do? Yeah. So it gives you cost-effective marketing. I 100% hire, definitely hire agencies, but once that agency builds that community with you, that community stays with you. You own that. You own that SEO. You own that website that gets more clicks. So when you're investing in marketing, it helps with long-term stability and sustainability. So I appreciate your guys' time. I know I kind of was going a little bit over, but I wanted to open it up just go for it. That was my last thing. So try new things, be yourself, step out of your comfort zone. That's the one thing that I would do. I know a lot of people are scared to post on social media, but really they're going to forget in a couple hours. So I would just say, just do it, be yourself, and step out of your comfort zone. And then we have a Q&A. So does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Yeah.
When you conducted the market research, were you using primarily like hashtags that you may personally use and just seeing who else is in St. Louis?
So when we were doing market research, we were building a community page. So I looked at the community pages that were here, and then I was like, okay, I like that. But then what I did was I went to the big 3 cities like LA, New York, and Chicago and looked at what they were doing. And then I said, okay, this person has a great page. What are they doing? Okay. And I wouldn't say market research as in looking at their page, looking at their brand and saying, okay, we can bring this to St. Louis because and a lot of startup businesses and stuff like that, you can go to these big cities and see what they're doing. You go on vacation, you're like, there's nothing like that at home, So I would say start outside and then start inside and make sure there's not somebody already doing exactly what you're doing. But yeah, definitely Chicago and New York, there was a couple big pages that I was super inspired by, and I was like, oh, we could do that in St. Louis,
Would you say it's better to convert your personal page, because I've heard people doing that, or would it be better to start a separate brand page and find a way to collaborate?
Depending on your business, I think that, and I'm not the best at, my personal page is very I don't post a lot on there, but I do my story. I'll share a lot of stuff into my story, but I think that the biggest reason why STL Bucket List is more successful than a personal brand is I feel like people are more likely to follow a business sometimes because they don't want to be like, well, why would I follow this person? That's weird. I'm just following this. So I think businesses, brands like STL Bucket List compared to STL or Luke Farrell STL, they're probably going to follow the business page more. And then you can, when you're starting that page, you use that collaborator feature and just say, hey guys, I just launched my brand page. It just depends on your business. I mean, if you have a freelance marketing agency, maybe your personal brand is your best tool. And then all your content's around there. But what I see is somebody will post motivational content and then they'll post out at the bar, so it's hard to have cohesiveness through that. That's why I would suggest another page, just because people when they go to an Instagram page, they want that feed to look fire. They want it to look good. So it's hard. You're welcome.
Lucas, great presentation, very well thought out.
Yeah.
And I understand STL bucket list to kind of be two things. One being curatorial and content driven, the push from within your own organization. And then what I'm guessing is generating the majority of your revenue, which is agency services
Mhm.
and the restaurants and hospitality focus that you do for other people.
Yeah.
My question specifically goes towards not that B2B sales push that you're doing on the agency side, but the B2C potential that you have in the 87,000 clicks. What are you doing, or what do you see yourself doing in the future to convert those
Yeah.
eyeballs into ROI to potentially increase the revenue and lifetime of your business?
That's an amazing question. I think that right now we're so focused on the B2B side because like with our billboards too is like we're focusing on businesses with that. But there is an opportunity, and I think that now that we have the community built to a certain way, when we do roll out a product, I want it to make sure that it's, it's hard to like roll something out if it's like we did merch and we did all these things and like they never really pushed the needle for us. But I think that B2C product, what I would love to do is have like an easy, whether it's a web app or a digital app, that our business clients could pay a small fee to be listed on and have like specials on. Not like Groupon, but I would love to offer that to somebody that lives in St. Louis. Hey, for $2 a month, you get access to STL bucket list deals. They're exclusive things. You get early reservations. You get all these different things, and I think people would pay for that. But if we roll something out, I just want to be really careful because of how big the community is that we don't roll something out and it's bad, because then that could really hurt the business side of it, the other business, the B2B side of it. But there's definitely been talks about that. I think that, like you said, there's a lot of people clicking on our page every day. We're not selling anybody anything. What we're doing is we're selling businesses the attention that we're getting from the people that show up to the page. But you're absolutely right. I mean, we should sell ads on our website too. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're missing out on opportunities. And I think that the reason we started the billboards was because we had a bunch of realtors hitting us up. We had a bunch of mortgage people, and like we're like, we can't do anything, but like let's build something for you to be able to advertise on, so that we can still help you for a lot less than posting them on our page.
Thank you, that's great. I particularly asked this question because I have the experience of losing 100,000 followers, and the thing that I found was that we did not create something that was revenue positive quick enough
Yeah.
in order to sustain the community. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I would love to talk to you more about that. That's crazy.
Questions?
Yeah.
When it comes to the different types of content, reels versus posts versus stories, are they all on their own algorithm? Like when we look at the insights, are there certain things that we need to do in order maybe to push
Mhm.
one form of content over another? Like, can you determine that from your analytics?
Yeah, so I mean, reels have definitely been very vital in our growth, but we still try to do static images. So let's say we go feature a restaurant, we'll take 10 photos, but then we'll also make a video, and then we'll post reel and photos, and then we'll put some in the story as well. But I definitely think video content, short form video content every business has to do some of that. You have to have a commitment of doing some sort of short form video, because without that, I mean, other brands are just circling them. But as far as like the algorithm, we post 3 to 4 times a day, so it's a little bit harder to see. Because if we were doing a reel, and then the next day doing a static post, and then the next day doing a couple story posts, then it would be different to see that. But we usually try to post a reel and a static post every day. So, great question though. Thank you.
Okay, so this question is about, so I'm just curious, you mentioned something about the aging of certain social media
Mm-hmm.
and the change of the demographic on Instagram.
Yeah.
So just curious what your future plans are in terms of shifting the community to like TikTok or Threads or whatever huge thing is going to come next year.
Yeah.
Just what your approach is to long-term planning like that, either shifting
Yeah. So 3 of the big things that we're working on is obviously TikTok, our email list, and then the billboard network. So those are the 3 things that we're trying to diversify because, like you said, when you lose those, if we lost our account right now, we would lose a lot of revenue. We would lose a lot of, it would really hurt pretty bad. But that's another reason why we bought that other page. So we do have another page. But as you see, is like TikTok is going crazy. My wife's a high school teacher, and I had her ask all the kids, and they spend more time on TikTok. So that means that in 3 years, when they're 21 or 28 or 25, that means TikTok's probably going to be the biggest platform. So we're putting a strategy in place. TikTok's hard though; it's different. It's different. I don't like it. I don't like the feature, like the scrolling features of it. I like being on Instagram better, but I definitely think TikTok, email list are our number 1 priorities because our email list, like compared to what we have in followers, is not high enough. So we need to capture more emails, and I think that would help having a B2C product so that we can provide value because people still do read email lists. You just talked about one that had 7 million subscribers. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
So
I think part of the reason why I asked that is because with social media and your shift to digital properties that you own, to
Yeah.
be able to continue that community. Because like if Instagram blows up and becomes something like X or Y or pick another letter, then you're going to have an issue of trying to reach that community if there are all these limitations that show up.
Yeah.
in place.
No, we have. I mean, we noticed that people are spending a little bit less time on Instagram too, and people are tapering back from social media in general. So I think that's why the digital billboards are inside the businesses, and I think I think out of home marketing is going to be a big. I've been reading a lot in Nashville and New York City and Japan and other countries. That's all it is, out of home marketing. It's blowing up. So we're definitely not worried about it, but I think that it does have a shelf life. It's not going to last forever, So that was a great question, though. Thank you. Yep.
Hi, how does a small business go about being featured on Instagram?
You go right to the link in the bio. You fill it out, and we'll email you in like 2 minutes. But there's a little form. It says promote your event or business, and you just fill that out, and we'll shoot you an email, and then we'll set up a call. Here you go. What's your business? I heard about that. We need to come out there anyway, so we'll talk. We'll talk after this. Yeah.
Let's give a round of applause to Lucas.